Hi.
And welcome back to The
Consequence of Love.
I am the wife.
I am the husband.
And today we're talking about parenting or having kids.
I guess everything that kind of comes with that.
Yep. Big topic, obviously, at least for me. At the same time, it's an amazing topic. So it's like, where do you start? Where do you begin?
Yeah.
It's like, do you start now from how old they are? Do you start when we wanted to have a kid?
Mm-hmm.
When do you start being a parent?
For me, that's easy answered when the kid comes out.
Yeah, like we've talked about this before, and obviously there's like a lot of men who think that same way, or just people, I guess. But like a lot of women become a parent when they like find out they're pregnant or feel the baby kick, or
as soon as insemination, as soon as the seed's there.
No, I mean, I don't know. Like everyone's different.
Yeah.
And some might not even feel that way at all. You know what I mean? And just know that it's a duty. You know what I mean?
No, what do you mean?
Like, I don't know, not necessarily like you don't love your kid, but it's just like, okay, an adult who has
like less love and more of just responsibility.
Yeah, because there are people like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to think about where to start. But I guess for me, it's like where I would start. I'd always wanted to be a mom, so that's for me. Ever since I was little, don't know why. I just always wanted to be a mother. I always wanted to have a family, have a husband, and that was my main goal in life. I don't know how you felt. But.
I would say I always probably wanted to have kids. I think that I don't really know what it stems from, so it'd be like a shot in the dark basically, but I always grew up around family. I had a gigantic family. I don't even think I know all of my family, how big my family is. Lots of big family gatherings, a lot of love in that family, and I think that kind of just made me always want to have a family, or maybe just knew that I wanted to be a part of a family all the time.
Yeah.
So whether that was within friend groups and creating family in that manner, or having my own kids at some points in time. It's interesting because, like you said, we've talked about this before, but when I try to think about it now, I don't think I was ever like, oh, I'm going to have kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to be a dad. I knew I wanted to be a father. Like, that was always something that I knew I was going to do. I was going to be a dad. I was going to, I guess, have kids. I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, because like before I would have said,
future kind of thing. You weren't like, I want to be like I was.
Yeah, because like I would say that, again, growing up, I always knew I wanted to be a part of a family and have a family, but I never actually had that word or that verbiage go across my mind of, I want to have kids. I just knew I wanted a family. I don't know. Yeah.
It's like, I don't even know what right word, because obviously we've talked about it when we were in high school. It's like, we're going to, we want to have kids. But it's like, you never, you know what I mean? It's like, that's your high school dreams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, obviously you're talking with someone, or, you know what I mean?
Did you realize we're matching, by the way?
No. Yeah.
And I would say that we probably discussed it as soon as we first started dating, which was many, many years ago. And I still think it's funny, I guess, because who talks about that?
Yeah.
When they're dating. I mean, obviously I did,
probably a lot of people do, because I want to say, obviously I've had only 3 relationships.
I don't think anybody else besides us that I've met when they first started dating, that they were like, especially when their kids were like, let's have kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we weren't like, oh, we're 15, 16, let's have a kid right now, but we were discussing already our future. And like, because if I think of like E, if I think of K, if I think of L, none of those people we know were like, oh, we can't wait to have kids.
Yeah. You're right.
It was later on, as they were in their relationship, they're like, okay, I guess we'll have a kid, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Like now, Kay and his wife want to have a kid, but like, I don't remember them being like, oh, I want to have a kid.
Yeah, like right off the bat.
Right off the bat. Yeah, like
Yeah,
already
weird.
in the primary discussion before marriage, like it's always, from the people we've met, it's always been through their marriage they made that decision.
Yeah. And it's scary because, like, thinking back at it, not about it. Like when we were in high school, obviously you're 2 years older than me, so I was, what, a grade lower than you. And like obviously we were dating for felt like forever. Well, maybe what did we say, like a month or two?
2 months, I think.
Yeah. And it's just like we never had sex. We never even obviously we like did things, but we never had sex. We always talked about it.
Because she didn't put out.
You're welcome, Mom. But like I always thought like like I always wanted to be a mom at 18 because my mom was a mom at 17, 18, you know, and she was always running and laughing and kept up with us, you know. I've had like friends whose parents can't even do that because they were old, you know, like, but I don't know. So I was like, that was my goal, to be like 18 and have a kid already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's another thought too, like, that went through my mind. I want to be young enough.
If we did have sex and I got pregnant, I'd be like, okay. I wasn't like scared. I was like,
had a plan.
You know, it sucks, but I mean, the only thing I'd be disappointed is like disappointing my mom or my grandpa, you know?
Yeah.
But even then I was like, you know. But obviously after we didn't talk, I was like, what the hell? Like, what was I thinking? Like,
well,
no.
I think it would have been different, definitely, because at the reason we broke up, sorry, mom-in-law, is that my mother-in-law did not want us together at that time in our life, and that's why we broke up.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can't. It doesn't make sense for me to travel 2 hours to go see you, to be there for 5 minutes and leave. But I think that if we were to have stayed together, and then if we were to have had a kid, I think that it would have been fine. Yep. Granted that I was able to go see you.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have been in the best financial situation, and I would have enlisted in the military way earlier.
Yeah.
And I think at that point too, I probably would never have gotten out.
Yeah. No, probably not.
Because at that point, it would have been, because from then until when I did get out, it would have been almost 10 years, or it would have been more than 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
It would have been, so I would have been, I'm almost done to retire, so I must keep going.
Yeah. But
yeah.
That's.
Yeah, so that's, yeah.
And also, like, your family's so big, like, even when we were in the military, or, like, even now, like, I get, like, friend requests from his family on Facebook, and I was like, who's this? He's like, I think it's a cousin. He's like, I forgot who's, you know, who they're related to or whatever, but they're my family. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's somebody. Fine. So I have to, like, ask your mom or something, and she's like, oh, okay, it's this person. I was like, okay, cool, awesome, you know. But yeah, no, that's crazy, like, yeah.
Yeah. And as far as, like, again, as we talked about, like, when did we feel, or how did we feel, is it didn't feel until our first son, Eli, our first kid, came out, and then that's when it felt real. That's when I really felt like a father. And it wasn't even scary up until then. It was just like, okay, so gotta get diapers, gotta get this.
When you saw him coming out, or when you held him?
Probably during labor, I suppose, because I was like, oh, something's happening.
Yeah.
Something's going on. And I mean, I would probably, at that moment in time too, I was probably more concerned for you, because I just didn't know really what was going on.
Yeah.
I watched in health class one video of someone giving birth, and I didn't even watch it. I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really want to watch it, but yeah, so I didn't really feel anything until my son came into the world, and that's when it hit me, and I really felt, okay, now I'm a parent, now I'm a father, and now I have to do things differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say you love most since being a father?
I mean, that's a tough question, because it's like, in particularly, I guess when I think of being a father, I just think of like my responsibilities. And it's kind of a drag, of course. I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night and feed the babies or wipe diapers and blah, blah, blah. No, but nobody really wants to do that. But the joys that come out of it are the things that your kids do, or accomplishments. And then seeing how excited they are, I guess, is always great and fun. It's a double-edged sword, because if I'm speaking truth, like, it's hard, like, not to be a parent, but to like deal with things as your own person, and then be a parent on top of that. Because we discussed before, like, our depression and like other other emotions and problems that we have. So you have to navigate that.
Yeah, your feelings, but at the same time, you
And
have to
then,
like.
yeah, because I don't always want to play with my
Yeah,
son.
for me, it's just like, always I'm not always happy, or like, what's it called? Like, just, I'm always self-conscious. So I'm just like always thinking like I'm ugly or blah blah blah. I'm not a good mom. And then you have this little like the little girl who comes up to you, potty, and I'm like, I have to like fake a smile. I'm like, potty or yes or no? Is it a fart or you have to like actually go? And then she's like, a potty, you know. So I have to run to the bathroom, like trying to like keep that like, let's go, let's go.
Enthusiasm,
And
or
then she
that
sits
excitement.
there, nothing happens. She's like, all done. And I'm like, no,
And then
you
you're
have
just
to poop. Like I know
upset,
you do.
kind of not
Yeah.
angry, but just like
And then you
I
put her
would
on the
just sit
potty.
down watching my show,
Yeah.
finally relaxing. Yeah.
And so like we sit there for maybe like 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes there. She's like, no potty, done, no. And then, okay, fine. You know, can you put a diaper on her, babe? Yeah, of course. 2 minutes later, she shits in her diaper.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you were on the bathroom and you said potty, like you felt it. But she just does not want to go. And it's just like going like, and then I get more depressed because I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I should have stayed on the potty with her for 5 more minutes, but I just don't want to get to the point where I'm just like, go to the fucking bathroom. Like,
Who wants to sit there?
No,
Nobody
yeah.
wants to. No one. Imagine, regardless of child, just imagine sitting with someone on the toilet who just doesn't want to or just doesn't need to go, but just sitting in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then what do you do? Like, it's not fun. At least those moments aren't, because obviously there's many rewarding things that, you know, correlate with having kids. You know, Christmas, excitement, getting them things. Like, that's probably the most fun thing, is giving them things that we didn't have, or more specific things that I didn't have growing up. Like, being able to give my son whatever he wants is great. But then also defining the line of
Spoiled.
what should I get him, what should I not get him, and spoiling him. And then it's that brings it back into reality, where that's the part that sucks, because that's not the fun part.
Yeah. For me, it's like,
It's kind of depressing. I don't know.
I just want to fuck them up. At the same time, it's like you talk to everyone, and like, yeah, obviously, like my parent was great. You know, my grandparents and my mother are amazing people. You know, obviously, when I was a teenager, obviously it was different. Obviously, I was like the best out of the three. Maybe not best, but like I didn't talk back or give her as much trouble, because like I saw what my sister did. You know, just sisters did to her, and I was just like, damn, she's by herself. Like, yeah, she doesn't let me wear that jacket, but it's like, fuck, fine, like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just like everyone has that, like, yeah, my parents, blah, 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 you know. But it's just like they had a reason, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, my mom was like a little strict because she was pregnant at 18. She didn't want that for us, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just don't want my kids to be dicks, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
At the same time, I want them to be smart and like know right from wrong, and like I don't know. It's just hard.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's a whole nother hurdle too. Is like trying to teach them things. You have the, okay, they don't care, they don't want to learn, so that sucks. Because then, at least for me, because I get frustrated, I guess, because I want my son to learn to read, and I want him to do whatever and be smart, but at the same time, I understand what it is to be on his side, because I didn't care for education.
Yeah.
But he's only 6, so it's like, I thought it was fun back then. Anyways, then you have to navigate that path of deciding how much you should, or how much effort you should put into it, in comparison to, again, because then your mental health or your well-being is at stake.
Yeah.
But also your child's future is probably more important. So it's like walking that fine line of trying to do enough, and then you don't want to do it because you're tired of trying so hard and them not
just telling
trying.
them like, come on, dude, like, you know.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, and it's like, you know, he knows he's a smart kid, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, they know better.
Just being
And
lazy.
yeah, it's either being
That comes
lazy or
from
just
me.
trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Eli's big thing right now is like trying to be funny, and I'm like, no, like, don't be rude, it's not funny.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's a time and place. You have to learn your comedic timing, like. Like, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. But I don't know. I like being a mom. Like, obviously,
Yeah. It's a
tiring.
lot. Yeah. It's all this negativity that we're mentioning, but at the end of the day, it's like, that's like probably the best way to think about it, because it's so stressful and so frustrating all day long. and you have to sit there and reprimand and discipline and teach and instruct and play and be happy for them even when you're not, or like try to be happy when you're
you
not.
can't forget to take care of yourself.
You gotta take care of yourself, right? And then it's all of that negativity or that burden, willfully, of course, because you want that and you love the kid. So it's not like, oh my God, I can't believe I do this. But it's like also, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this, because you do love them and you want to do it. But anyways, so it's all that negativity. And then for that 5 minutes or 5 seconds, realistically, 5 seconds where you look at your kid and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like yesterday, I was like dead
so
tired.
perfect.
Like I was just like, I saw you falling asleep. I was like, fuck. Like obviously I was like, fuck, I want to sleep too. But I was just like, no, okay, I'll stay up with them. It's fine. Don't wake up daddy. I was telling Andy, she saw you sleeping. She went, Mimi's, and I was like, okay, like then be quiet. And then she goes and runs and like screams next to him. I'm like, girl, like, and then like I said, he woke up, and then next thing you know, her and Eli were playing, and her little belly laughs. I was like, okay, we're doing something right. Like obviously she was just playing with her brother, but like,
but yeah, you see that laughter laugh, and you go, oh my gosh, this is all that crap that we just mentioned is worth it. Yeah, like not seeing even tired, them smile, seeing them be happy, and yeah, it just makes it worth it. Yeah. All of that stuff you deal with. Mm-hmm. So if you ever think about having kids, think of that first, I think. And think of all the negative things you're going to run into. And then if you still wanted to, like, that's what the discussion we had, is she wanted another one. Yeah. And she got it. And we're expecting a third. But I said, I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night anymore. Yeah. I am over that. We just got our daughter to finally sleep through the night. Yeah. She's almost 2. She just doesn't like to sleep. No, but
at first she was colic, and now she just doesn't like.
Just doesn't want to. Yeah. So, we were just getting her through that, and then my wife said she wants another one, and I said, "What? I thought you liked to sleep. Like apparently you don't, because you're not choosing to sleep. You're choosing the other." So. If you can think of all the things that we mentioned, and then worse, the diapers, the poop up to their back, like if you are willing and wanting to sit through all of that and deal with all that, and then you tell me you still want to have a kid, then then do it, because that's how you know that it's worth it. Because I think there's nothing. I think the worst thing is to have a kid unknowing of these trials and tribulations that you'll go through, because now you're sitting in a position, as we mentioned before, where like maybe you still love the kid or whatever, but you're just like, I can't believe I'm doing this, like I don't want to do this. And that's where it becomes more of a job than it is a love relationship, because in a loving relationship there's a give and take. You're giving a lot to these kids, and then you're able to get some of that reward, which is just seeing them breathing and laughing and smiling and being happy. So
and like learning little by little. You mean like
everything, of course, that they accomplish is fantastic. But if you can say that that's worth it to you, then do it. And if you found yourself on the opposite end of that spectrum, where you just had a kid and now you're dealing with all this, then stay strong.
Don't have sex.
Yeah, we got into a big discussion about that yesterday. You got mad at me. Yeah. But if you have a kid that you didn't necessarily plan on having, and you're dealing with it, like, you'll be okay. Stay tough. Do your best. Disciplining them and having them follow rules is important, because you set those rules early and you stick to those rules. It'll be easier for you later. Now our son is fantastic with rules. He knows there's certain things he can't do. We still have to remind him, of course, but it's so easy. We don't have to worry about him very much. Now we just have to watch our daughter and focus on her. So those would be some things to look out for.
What something you wish you knew before having kids?
I don't know. That's a good question, because I think that I was well aware before having kids the trouble that they would be. I knew that there's going to be diarrhea. I knew I wasn't going to sleep. I knew all of those things. I think more so would be the things that we need to have or buy when we have the kids, or once the kids are older, like realizing, okay, we don't need 1,000 blankets, we just need one, or we don't need that particular toy, this other toy will do fine. Things like that, I think, would have been more beneficial, or for me to know or have learned prior to. I think because I think I was relatively prepared, so I don't think I needed to know anything. If you need to know anything, you should Google stuff, or reach out
or
to
ask
someone.
your parents.
Yeah.
Ask your grandparents.
Maybe what they wasted their time doing. Because so she read the baby books. She read all the baby books. I didn't read a single one, and I don't think that I'm any less of a parent.
No.
And I think if you just feel that you need more information, just look into it. I think the key things are just like discipline your kids, and you're gonna have a lot of problems because of diapers and stuff. Don't freak out.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Don't freak out.
And by you?
Just like I sort of kind of talked about, just like I didn't realize, like I knew how much time we took for my mom, or like self, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't realize at the same time, you know what I mean? Like I did realize, but I didn't, how much like I'm not necessarily me anymore, but I'm a mom first.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be a mom first, you know what I mean? Or like, yeah, yeah, that's, I don't know. Like I said, like I knew, but I didn't exactly get the full extent. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's also something different too, because I don't think I think probably for you it would have been better to know before is the postpartum.
Yeah, like
and knowing that you're gonna go through that prepares you for. I think personally, then you prepares you for it, and then while you're going through it, you'll recognize you're going through it potentially, and then act in accordance to better yourself or to help with that period.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like I read about it, like you said, like I read the books. I knew about postpartum. I knew like all this stuff, and I didn't realize it, but my sisters told me with Eli I had it. They're like, you were depressed a little bit, or postpartum. You were kind of like, that little brief time I was in California with them. She's like, they're like, you were kind of, like not there, And then with Andy, obviously, I felt it more. It's one of those things where it's like, you don't think it's gonna happen to you,
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
I wouldn't. I mean, obviously, I can't say, but I mean, I would say that clearly you had postpartum with Andy, but with Eli, I don't know. I would say maybe, because I mean, not to say your sisters don't know you, but I know you pretty well. It has been some time since then, so there could be easily some instances that you can remember that I don't. But like
I said, there's even a time like you told my mom, like, yeah, she had it with both kids.
I told your mom that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I probably told your mom that because you told me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily going to doubt you, and I don't necessarily doubt you now, but like, I'm just saying, as the outside looking in, like, who am I to say you have depression or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I could just say that, and what if you don't? You know what I mean? Just in general, all I'm trying to say is that only you can say how you feel, and it's very possible that you had postpartum. But I remember a lot happier, a lot more happiness around Eli. But also, in your defense and in your family's defense, I wasn't there. I was home before bed.
Yeah.
With Andy's difference. Andy, I saw every moment. I saw you at your lows and stuff like that in comparison to with Eli, where I didn't see any of that.
Yeah.
Or a lot of it.
So after Eli, like, how did you feel about parenting?
I was done.
You were done?
Like, it wasn't hard. It was easy. But I just knew that we weren't going to be that lucky twice. Like there was no way in my mind, and on top of that too, it's just like I wanted to sleep. I don't know. I knew at that time I was like, okay, I would love to have more, but I was totally fine with just keeping Eli, especially as we got older, or he got older, because then I think that we started finding our freedom again, and we were like, we can just go to the movies. We can just do this.
Like even now that like family's coming to live with like in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've expressed this to you before. I feel like you're gonna twist my words in your mind.
For the podcast,
yeah, well, okay, yeah, well, I know, but I see your face, and so like I don't know, like I love kids. I'll have 100 kids, if I didn't have to do X, Y, and Z. But especially being in the military when I was, of course, or having to work, or just financial reasons. There's 100,000 different reasons I can tell you why we should have just stayed with Eli,
Yeah.
if not even had more or had him at all. But I mean, just me personally, emotionally, whatever. Like, I'd have been totally fine with just Eli and stopping, because Eli's perfect. He's perfect. And then, of course, we have another one, Andy, the biggest troublemaker I've ever met. Like, I would have been so happy without having her destroying things every 2 seconds. You know what I mean? Do I regret having her? Of course not. I love my daughter, and I love having my baby girl that I can spoil, and that I'm actually around during this time of her life. I was not around for Eli for a lot of the stuff that I get to experience. So, like, again, logically speaking, I would have been totally fine with just stopping at Eli.
Yeah.
But yeah, my heart would be like, yeah, let's have 3 more kids. I love when you're pregnant. I love when you're, honestly, I love when you're a stay-at-home mom. I just like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. I like to, when I was working, come home and see you, and you give me a kiss, and the kids run up to me in my mind, because I don't know if that always happened, but and
I think it did for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
for the most part,
that's
you said Eli would be getting ready for bed. So.
Yeah, and to me that's picture perfect. Like, that's what I think of when I think of, like, my fantasy of a family, and we fulfill that, I think, But obviously, then reality comes in, and then we're like, oh, fuck, I'm tired, and I don't want to deal with this, or I got to go do yard work, I got to go do this, I got to go do real work, and all that stuff. So that's where I'm like, okay, we could have and should have stopped with Eli. Yeah. We could have and should have stopped with Andy. And now we're on a third one, which, of course, I'll be extremely happy when he comes or she comes into the world. I'll be ecstatic.
And in 2 years, the fourth one.
No, I'm drawing the line in the sand.
No, I know, like,
no
like,
more.
That's what I keep telling myself. Like, I wouldn't mind one more. You know what I mean? After this one, you know what I mean? Obviously, 4, that's great. I think, but at the same time, I'm just like, what are you thinking? Like, anything. Even now, I'm just like,
I think it's just because we have so much love to give.
And for me, it's like that, because obviously, like, even like with our niece now, I'm just like, oh my god, she's so cute, she's so tall. I've maybe held her once in her life.
Maybe twice.
Yeah. But even then, like, I see her, I'm just like, oh, like, it's a baby, our baby, like.
It's, even though, I think, and especially too when it's your kid, because you look at your kid and you go, I made that.
Yeah. Wow.
That came out of me, and then really fathoming that for a second, like, that came out of my body into her body, grew in her body, and then now it's a person that has a brain. Think of that. Like, when you see anybody in the world, if you're watching this with somebody, if you know somebody, if you're just looking at us, at one point we were inside of someone else.
Yeah.
And a speck, microscopic. Before that, we were microscopic, and then you become something, right? And so when you look at your child and you go, holy shit, this is a product of our love, of our just everything. And then as you watch them progress into little human beings, starting when they're little, when they're crawling, and then they're walking, and they're doing these amazing things. Even that, like,
when they're a little blob,
I mean, that's in general. Like, you're seeing them breathing and eating, and you're like, what? How does this happen? That's what makes me really question, or like wonder, wow, like, there are miracles, because how? Like, I understand it's science, I get it, right? But, like, where does that come from?
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Like, somebody designed a phone, right? Somebody created that. Somebody made that with science, and they said, put this together, put that together, and you make this.
Yeah.
But who or what makes life, right? And then not only life, but then that life develops to then create more life.
Yeah.
Or things. Who made this microphone? Like, that at one point was nothing.
Yeah.
Whoever invented a microphone, whoever invented headsets, at one point were nothing. And all of a sudden they were a blob just like us, and decided we need to record audio through this device.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's way off. But what I'm trying to say is looking into, like, down as
differences of opinions or stuff in another podcast.
Well,
but no,
but just in general of, like, when you look down at your child and you go, holy crap, that's
amazing. Like, you can't even, like, you know what I mean?
It's
like, it's more than amazing. It's
indescribable.
Exactly. So.
If you look at it that way, you could also look at it and be like, oh my god, you demon spawned.
It depends on the day, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. How would you, I guess, compare your parents' style versus ours? Would you say it's completely
No.
opposite?
I
In the
would say
middle,
that
or like
fairly
exactly?
close to how I was disciplined growing up. But I think that no matter what you think you're going to do as an adult in comparison to how you were raised, you're going to, I think, raised the same way that you were raised.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you didn't necessarily agree with it, unless to the extreme someone goes, "Oh, why I was beaten," and
Yeah.
I obviously don't think you're going to beat. Why I hope you don't beat your
Yeah.
kids, because that probably actually still, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a whole psychological thing. There's a whole probably genetic thing with how you deal with anger and things of that nature, or even if you have depression, because then that in turn will again also affect your kids and how you parent. But like I would look back at my childhood and think, oh man, or as a kid thinking, I was like, oh man, I don't want to raise my kids like this, but my kids need discipline.
Yeah.
I was rebellious and I had a mouth and I was, always causing trouble. So therefore I received the discipline I did. And now I am where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Whether some people look at it as a success or not, I think it is. I have a family.
Mm-hmm.
I have a beautiful home. We have 2 cars.
You're an amazing person in general.
I'm married. I have kids. I have, all the things I could ever not ever want, because I always want stuff. But you know what I mean? And so I think that I was raised, so that being me being a product of how I raised, I was able to accomplish this. So in that case, now as an adult looking back, I think I was disciplined fine, and therefore I will discipline in similar manner. Of course, I will make changes where I see fit.
Yeah.
But I don't think very much different. I don't think very much different in how I was raised. What about you?
Stuff. Yeah, I would say about the same. Like, obviously, like, just like I said before, I wasn't really like this. Like, obviously, I was disciplined, but not as like severe later on. You know what I mean? Because like, yeah, we were kids. Yeah, we did bad things. Like, you know what I mean? My youngest sister, my mom finally got a house with my biological dad, and we moved to New Mexico. And my mom finally got like a patio set, and next thing you know, she comes home from like a night shift or something, or has a day off, and my little sister cut up the back of it, like,
Oli?
yeah. And to this day, we don't know why. She just wanted to cut it.
How old was she?
She was like 6, 7, I think.
Oh,
She
man,
was
there's
tiny.
no need to be Nick reason.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah,
I don't
exactly.
understand
She
why
just
Eli
did it.
does some of the things
exactly.
he does.
So
Yeah.
my mom was just like, why? But yeah, like, obviously, like I
Cut
said,
up something of theirs.
yeah.
You like
And then
this?
she would do weird things like this. She would draw, like, we had an apartment on Brookshire, and like she drew like in shoe polish on the door. You know what I mean? The medicine door, like a little like a caveman drawing. My mom was like scared of it. She opened the door. I was like, what the hell? And then she found out Olivia did it, like, why do we do these things? You know what I mean? She just was like that, not saying I was perfect, or, you know what I mean? Like, things like that. But, I was like, we, got disciplined, or you don't know why, but at the same time, it's like, you don't want to, like, I don't know. Like, it's like, I want to say our parenting style is about the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are times where, I would rather, like, talk to Eli, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's because I'm more sensitive, or, like, my grandma would sit down and be like, you okay? I'm like, yeah. Like, good grandma. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, like, she wouldn't do it in front of my mom or something, because mom was mom, But for me, it's just like, I'd probably be the same. I think I was more sensitive, so always had, like, how we do, I kind of prefer, like, the talking, or, like, not the talking, but I don't know, getting, like, I don't know, like, so, like, I would want Eli to, like, tell me how he's feeling, or why he did this, or things like that, because, like, not saying I never got a chance, but it's just like the first thing mom would do is to yell, or, you know what I mean, spank us, which I understand, because obviously, parents do that, but yeah, I don't know, like I said, obviously I'm the person I am today, like I said, everything my mom did was for a reason. She was single parent, pretty much raised by my grandparents too, you know. So it was hard, but it worked out for us. Like I said, I don't think I would change anything. But I don't know. Like, for me, it's like hard because it's kind of the same, but it's not. You know what I mean? I don't know.
So you're saying your mom talked to you a lot and asked about your feelings?
No. Mm-mm. Like the day.
So what part's the same?
Like our disciplining areas. You know what I mean? Like obviously, like it was different. Like
when do you discipline?
Huh?
Like what do you mean?
Okay, so like if Eli gets in trouble, and like say he gets spanked or whatever, or even yelled at, like after the fact, be like, you know why you got yelled at or something? He'd be like, no, we kind of describe why. My mom.
And that's what your mom did that?
Yeah. Yeah, not all the time, but yeah.
Okay. That's what we were just trying to figure out. I was like, what? Because are you talking about our parenting style or are you talking about your parenting style?
Our.
Okay. I thought you asked me my parenting style.
Your parents, like how the...
Yeah, and how I parent the same or different. Mm-hmm. Right? Or no?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. So then what's your parenting style?
Oh.
The same question that you asked me to you. So if you're asking me our parenting style, then it's different.
Oh, yeah. Ours, yeah.
Okay. Because that's a whole different answer.
Yeah.
then it's different.
Do you have any advice for parents or soon-to-be parents?
I don't know. Do you?
I don't know. For me, it's just obviously like I feel like do what you feel is right. Don't let the children obviously walk all over you. But at the same time, just ask them how they're feeling, or why did they do what they did. Obviously, 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 times it's gonna be like I don't know, but it's just like talk to me. That's how that's my advice would be. But yeah,
would be to what?
Just pretty much like ask how your children are feeling. Obviously if they can talk. Yes. Okay. But yeah.
And then so like what if they don't communicate with you?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know.
What do you do when Eli doesn't communicate with you? You ask him those questions.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. Well then, you can tell me when you're ready. And usually within like 5 minutes he tells me what's going on. He needs space or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Being a parent is hard.
It's not easy, yeah.
Mm-mm. But it's rewarding.
What's your most rewarding thing? Or what's the thing that you find most rewarding about being a parent?
Just the cuddles. I wish Annie would cuddle more, but that's okay. Yeah. And I was like, it's sad that like, I know one day Eli's just gonna stop.
Yeah.
But I mean, as long as he's a good person, So
yeah.
That's about it. Like, I guess that's what's rewarding.
That's the only rewarding thing is just
not the only.
That's what I'm saying. You said that's it.
Yeah, that's just so much rewarding. And obviously, like the little like paintings or drawings I get, little things like that. Like just a lot of stuff. Like I can't just like narrow it down. But yeah, that's all I can think of right now.
The cuddles and the paintings and stuff like that. Just looking at them for me. Just seeing them live.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Mm-hmm.